Howdy, y'all, and welcome to another edition of the Criterion Connection. I am Cowboy Wade.
And I'm Joe.
Yeah, okay. I'm not going to do the old ass the entire time. Today we are doing an anticipated movie that came out, I think it came out last week on Criterion because we were delayed a little bit.
It came out sometime this month.
You just released it on Blu-ray, DVD. It's called Midnight Cowboy from 1969, I am pretty sure, or 1970, one of those two. It's early in the morning, I can't remember. This is cutting the circulation off my brain.
By John Schlesinger.
Yes.
Or Schlesinger?
Yeah.
I don't know.
There's John Voight, who does not look like he's 100 years old. I've never seen John Voight this young before, and I was very like, wow. And Dustin Hoffman.
Hot off the heels of The Graduate.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and he's a totally different character.
Yeah, weird. It's almost like his entire career's that way.
It's like he's an actor or something. And a bunch of slew of different characters. What was that guy's name? That was in The Birds, what was his name?
Oh, Bob Balaban.
Who I thought was Rick Moranis.
Yeah, he makes an appearance. There's a few people.
Yeah.
But it's mainly those two. It's mainly John Voight playing Joe Buck. And
I know, his name is Joe Buck.
Yeah.
They take the first minute to let you know his name is Joe Buck, which is actually funny and it really works.
Yeah.
It's smart to do that.
And then, and Ratso, or Enrico Salvatore.
Well, he's in Miami, so you have to call him Rico.
Yeah. Well, no, his name, I think, first name is Enrico.
Yes. They call him Rizzo. No one calls him Rizzo. He calls himself Rizzo. No one calls him Ratso.
Yeah.
You know. So it's kind of like Joe Buck's. He's like he's from the West, and he's like, He's
from Texas.
He's from Texas. I'm gonna be a hustler.
Yeah, he wants.
He wants in New York to be a hustler, and boy, that does not work out too well.
His goal is to no longer be a dishwasher at this diner, and he's moving to the big city of New York
with his cow print briefcase.
Yeah, to become a male prostitute, a very successful one in his mind.
Yes, because women want cowboys.
Apparently, and
he's wrong.
Yeah.
Well,
he's mostly wrong.
Yeah.
And it's just a interesting, story of a character going after their dream and having kind of harsh reality push them back down, but ultimately finding a purpose.
And a friend.
A true friend.
Yeah, he didn't have many friends. I mean, this whole movie has a whole...
Except for Ralph. Down in Texas.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
There was a lot of interesting characters. To mention to you, the night before I saw Basket Case, and one of the biggest things is a weird tie between those two, but I like the cast of characters in Basket Case, I like the cast of characters here. You have the Jesus freak, O'Daniel, his name was. You had the sobbing penthouse lady.
Yeah.
You had the weird Warhol party people.
That was awesome.
You had...
I really enjoyed that sequence.
Probably one of the most disturbing scenes in this movie is the one with the kid and the mom where they have the toy mouse and they're rubbing on each other's faces.
Uh-huh.
And it was so disturbing and unsettling. Why is this so disturbing and weird? And then Joe Buck does something even more disturbing. He pours ketchup on his crackers. Who does that? I was like, what is going on in this scene? It's just so...
Well, at that point, he is hit rock bottom. He got kicked out of the hotel. His stuff's all there except for his radio. And basically, he was asking for scraps off their plates. Yeah. And that's when you get that weird sequence of them with the little toy mouse or rat, which I thought...
At some point, it's like, what is going on?
I thought originally she was going to use it to try and get a free meal.
That's what I thought. I thought it was like, oh, it's a rat!
And then that doesn't really happen, and he's like, are you going to eat those crackers like they had for soup? And then he puts ketchup, because that's on the tables, on the cracker to try and make it easier, but yeah.
It was very disturbing, a little bit. But yeah, it's mostly... I thought this movie was going to be just like, it's going to be a fun little comedy like Tootsie or something.
Like a buddy comedy, you thought?
Yeah, like Midnight Run. I thought it was going to be like that. No.
Wrong Midnight movie.
I know. I thought it was going to be kind of like a buddy kind of thing. Nope. It's very dark. Especially there's one when he's in Rizzo's apartment. He has that weird black and white dream. It's very like experimental.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, there's a lot of that.
There's a lot, especially the Warhol scene where they have like low res kind of interview kind of.
Camera,
and
where they're
one where
filming
there's
on like
a frame around it. Like it's really weird filmmaking.
It's supposed to be like they're filming on what is it, 16 millimeter or something, like one of those cameras.
And then there's like a weird like
because it's like a lot of that's like performance art and stuff. Because that's when the Warhol stuff was really taking off.
Yeah, and there was a lot of weird. A lot of interesting shots that he did. Like there was one thing on the bus, and the bus is really fast motion. Like it's like they really speed up the camera on that one. And it was like, whoa! It's like
they do a few of that.
The guy was trying to do something different with the camera work.
Yeah, I don't think it pervades throughout the whole movie. Like
no.
a lot of it is very stock. Like
it's sprinkled
set up
in.
your camera. I think a lot of it was kind of filmed. I don't know if they. It seems like they almost did some guerrilla filmmaking on the streets of New York, and like when he rips up the postcard and throws it out the window, and there's a lot of that going on.
I feel like those experimental stuff was like the B in it.
Yeah,
they're like, we're done for the day. Let's just shoot some random stuff.
They also do a lot of like flashbacks, which fleshes out Joe Buck's backstory, and you start kind of getting an idea of why he would think this way.
You're the one.
Kind of how, and just kind of already he's been crushed once. I feel the way I interpret it is that girl in his flashbacks was a girl he fell in love with, and things don't end well. Spoilers. Yeah.
Basically, this movie is about two broken characters. One is like, one has too much confidence. And Joe Buck, if it's I'm a stud, I'm one hell of a stud and stuff like that. And
not a cowboy. I'm not a real cowboy, but I'm one hell of a stud.
And then you have Rizzo, who has no confidence in himself most of the time.
And he's very much like he's the street smart character. Like the clip everybody sees is the one where they're walking down the street together in the beginning, and the taxi almost runs into Dustin Hoffman, who's playing Rizzo, and he bangs on it.
I'm walking here.
Yeah.
Don't you see I'm walking? Like, yeah, that's the only scene I knew from this movie. But I was expecting like a really fun, but it's.
But you don't realize like
it's a really
right
weird...
after that he fucks Joe Buck over, and then eventually Joe Buck catches up with him like 20, 30 minutes later.
Just live where I am.
Not in movie, but like in the time span that you're watching the movie. It's like
there's weird things like. There's weird comedy like the scribbage sex, like what? Like, where she's biting him like really crazy, and Joe's like, I don't know what to do. It also has like kind of like homosexual undertones a little bit.
There's a lot of it.
Yeah. Like I was not expecting the theater scene at all.
Right. Not
expecting that. But I see like then the guy had no money, and that was like really real and stuff like that. It felt like very gritty, like basically showed New York in a really gritty light. I don't know back then if that was edgy or not, but I don't know.
In seeing some documentaries like like anything like from the late 70s and back into the 60s, like New York could be a really seedy place.
Yeah.
And that it just reinforced it when you see like the squat where Rizzo's staying and he invites Joe Buck because Joe Buck catches up to him and he's like, I guess I'll do this guy a good favor because he's going to kill me otherwise. But and you have Rizzo, his character is always compensating. He's not, I don't think of him as not confident at all. He's just, he understands that he's like knocked down a few pegs, and instead of thinking he's like up here, he's like, I'll settle for down here and I'll just start like taking scraps from everybody else, and just to get by, and he refuses. Like, I think a real telltale sign for his character is when they talk about his dad, who used to shine shoes in the subway, and he says, I'm not going to be like him. So he decides, like, he rather live day to day stealing, swindling people to live on his own terms rather than be kind of corralled by this dead-end career job down in the subway, hunched over. He's like, I'm already crippled. Like, why? I'm not going to demean myself to that. I'm going to live as my own man and eventually make it to Miami.
Yes.
And that's his big dream, is to be in Miami. And if you notice in all his kind of fantasies, he doesn't have a limp. He's running around on the beach. People call him by his name. And that happens over and over. And I think it's a really, like, that fantasy where he first sets Joe up instead of the escort service, where he starts thinking about it. Like, it's a really, like, touching moment in the movie that really redeems kind of, you get a little bit more of his motivation.
Yeah. And I was I'm not going to spoil it, but I was not expecting the ending to be as emotional as it was.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was like, oh wow, this is not a comedy.
No.
No. And it's won Best Picture.
Yeah, it's the
Best
only...
Picture, Best Actor. Didn't get Best Actress. There was no actress.
I think Best Director, maybe.
Best Director, probably Best Supporting Actor. Dustin Hoffman deserved that.
I don't know if he won for this movie.
Yeah.
But it did win Best Picture, and it's the only X-rated movie to win Best Picture.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it was pretty X-rated.
Because they cut off that rating at a certain point, but it was the first one to do it. And then other people talk about it as one of the first movies with a lot of, like, homosexual kind of overtones in it and messages in it, like where you see Joe Buck and you yourself as the audience wonder,
yeah,
like, you know, maybe he is homosexual and he can't deal with it, you know, and maybe that's where it's coming out
and that's
in the movie theater.
That's why he's overcompensating with
right.
Everything else. Yeah,
and it's one of the first movies to have that heavily featured and right out there to win Best Picture.
Yeah, it's also a pretty good movie.
It's a good movie.
Yeah. So buy, rent, or skip.
For a mature audience, I think it's definitely one everybody has to watch at one point in their life, especially if, like, even for a casual fan who's like, you know what, maybe I should watch some of these, you know, Oscar-winning movies, see what they're all about. It's definitely high up on that list. It's one of the best, I think, Best Picture winners, typically in the rankings. So I'm going to say it's a buy.
I think it's pretty ready available. If you don't want the Criterion edition, you should get the Criterion edition. That's why I'm gonna get the Criterion edition. But if you know, it's been released everywhere. It's not on Amazon Prime.
Yeah,
it's on Amazon Video. I watched it on Amazon Video.
I got my copy some years ago. Yeah. It's a duel with Midnight Cowboy and Rain Man.
That's
Dustin Hoffman, supporting actor.
That's an interesting combo.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say buy. For the reason why it's it's not like it's gonna be $50 on eBay. It's easy to it's easy
to come across.
If you're mature, I'd say it. If you're like 6, watch this video. Why are you watching this video? If you're 6, do not watch this movie at all.
Exercise discretion when deciding if somebody of underage should watch it.
But it's
definitely a movie that people should watch.
Yes. So yeah, that's our thoughts on Midnight Cowboy. So that's the end of the month of June, May. It's the end of May.
You're getting there. That hat was affecting you. You got the Joe Buck intelligence there.
Yeah. M-O-N-Y. That's how you spell money.
It's just like the sign outside on the hotel. M-O-N-Y.
So yeah, that's our thoughts on this movie. Let us know in the comment section down below if what you thought about this movie. Did you think it was weird seeing Jon Voight not looking really old? Let us know.
The first time I saw Jon Voight was actually in Anaconda.
Oh wow!
So everything's kind of been uphill from there. Yeah, everything's been kind of uphill from there.
Yeah, he has fallen when he did on Anaconda. Everyone has. Was it Ice Cube in that?
Yeah.
Yeah, Ice Cube.
That was one of his early movies.
Anyway, back to what I was saying. Let's suggest. A lot of people have been suggesting movies. Don't worry, you've been suggesting them. We have been putting them in a list, and we're going to unveil. We're going to do them when the time is right. So stay tuned on that and do some more.
I mean, we just did fan suggestion month.
Yes,
not too long
we might bring it back at some point, maybe later.
We could do it annually, even.
Yeah, I don't know.
You never know.
We'll figure it out. So let us know. Be sure to share this video, tell your friends and all that, so we can get this thing bigger. So we get bigger, more eyes, more suggestions, more fun, and also more interactive. The comments section, you guys can talk to each other. Have fun with it. Stuff like that. Yeah. And next week, we are going to do an iconic filmmaking movie. Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Cool.
It's a number and a fraction. It's a number and a fraction. If you haven't figured that one out, should I just tell them what it is so they can watch it or whatever?
I'm guessing Armageddon.
It's Armageddon, yes. No, I'm kidding. It's 8.5. So next week we're doing 8.5. So if you want to watch it, and then you can watch this review, or if you want to wait and watch our review, and then you can watch it, whatever you want to do with it. I don't know, but I thought I'd let you know. So that's next week, next month too. So yeah, I have nothing else to say about that. That's all. You have anything else to say, Joe?
Just keep watching.
Yeah, keep on watching. Subscribe, like, share, tell your friends, everything. Until next time, we will see you later, y'all.